Thank you for hosting us, and thank you for the partnership. In fact, today we'll be talking quite a bit about partnership building, because without working together, many of the problems that we face are quite challenging. Burma, Myanmar is a very challenging situation right now. As you may know, it's made the front page of the New York Times last week and also of the Washington Post last week. Why? Well, many reasons which we will be discussing. Most recently, the Doctors Without Borders was chased out and banned from the Rakhine state of Burma, which means that 700,000 of the Rohingya Muslim minority have no medical care and are dying. And this comes on top of decades of rights restrictions and persecutions and killing and land confiscation, a whole range of terrible ethnic cleansing that's been policy of the state for decades. And it is, unfortunately, an increasing and worsening problem. Also, the national census. The national census of Burma, which was in part funded by the government of the United Kingdom and also by some of the United Nations, well, the government of Burma promised to include all of the 135 ethnicities that are living in Burma, but at the last minute they reneged, they changed, and they did not include the Rohingya minority, which is, again, one of the most persecuted minorities in the world and has been a stateless population within the country of Burma since the 80s. And now, since they have not been allowed to be included in the national census, they are, again, vanishing, disappeared people, and more they're chased into ghettos or displacement camps. And we'll be talking today about these challenges and more. Just to say, before I introduce the speakers, that they play many different roles, and I hope that their diversity will help look at this severe crisis from different sides, and then that we can have a conversation and consider together how we can move forward in partnership. So the organization that I work for is Burma Task Force USA, which is a Muslim American organization which has 19 national and regional organizations as members. And the task force has been promoting awareness and also asking for our U.S. officials to put meaningful pressure on the government of Burma. Also engaging with the United Nations players, with the OIC, trying to meet with different UN missions and the NGO community, and trying to be part of the solution, part of at least the conversation around this. And we were very gratified that our efforts and that of other allies were successful last week in passing Resolution 418 in the House of Representatives. The resolution stated that the government of Myanmar must take care of all its people, all its minorities, including the Rohingya. And in fact, the last version that was voted on, they added some actual last-minute wording, mentions the fact of the Doctors Without Borders being chased out of Burma or out of Rakhine State and the resulting humanitarian crisis. So it has gotten some attention. Of course, in the media, we have to compete with many other news stories, and of course there are 9 million displaced people from Syria, and there's horrible things going on in Central African Republic and many other places. And then just last week, everyone was paying attention to Nigeria, as understandably so. But our posture is often reactive, and we will think about the girls who were abducted in Nigeria for maybe another week, and then everyone here will move on, except for very few people who are continuing to engage on that topic. So how can we, as a community, as diverse communities, make sure that the issue of the Rohingya does not fall between the cracks, and that we can effectively convince our elected officials, our policymakers, international organizations, and so forth, to really put leverage on, use their leverage, economic leverage, other forms, on the government of Myanmar to stop both the killing and the rights restrictions. Perhaps we'll hear from the first speaker about some of the history of the rights restrictions, how far back they go, and how they impact real people. As I begin to introduce the speakers, I think we'll have about 10 minutes. We'll let everyone have an introductory remark, perhaps starting with your role, how you work on this topic, and then focusing on what you can offer to the conversation, so that if you're speaking about, again, the history of the Rohingya and your knowledge of that as an activist, and the NGO communities and the interfaith community's role in response, also, I think that you both can bring. So then after we each speak, we'll start a conversation amongst ourselves, and then we'll, and the third part, involve you all in a dialogue and conversation. Because I hope that, again, some of you may want to sign up for more information afterwards and be part of response, whether it's delegations going to Burma. I mean, there are programs and projects. It is possible to begin to make a difference, but again, this is a very challenging moment. Things could get worse in Burma.